Imagine diving into a pool, feeling the water rush around you as you swim. Now, think about flying through the air, wind whipping past your face. What if I told you that both experiences, swimming in water and soaring through the air, are connected by the same set of rules? Welcome to the world of fluid mechanics, where we break down the behavior of everything that flows, from the water in your tap to the air you breathe. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Fluid mechanics is the science of understanding how fluids, liquids and gases, move and behave. But before your mind drifts off to that last boring science class, let me hit you with this. Mastering fluid mechanics is like having the cheat codes to unlock the mysteries of nature. Want to know why planes stay in the sky? Fluid mechanics. Curious about why boats float, or how blood flows through your veins? Yup, fluid mechanics again. It's the hidden force that shapes so much of our world, and once you get it, everything from the simplest river current to the most complex weather pattern starts to make sense. Let's kick things off with the basics. What exactly is a fluid? You might think it's just another word for liquid, but hold up, fluids are actually anything that can flow. That means both liquids and gases. Yep, air is a fluid too. Whether you're talking about the water in a river, the oil in your car, or the air filling up your lungs, you're dealing with a fluid. And here's the kicker, fluids don't just sit still. They're constantly on the move, and understanding how they move is where things get really interesting. So, how do we start making sense of all this fluid behavior? Enter density, the first key player in fluid mechanics. Density is all about how much stuff, or mass, is packed into a certain volume of a fluid. Think of it like this. If you have a box of feathers in a box of rocks, the rocks are obviously heavier because they're denser. The same concept applies to fluids. Water, for instance, is denser than air, which is why we can swim in water but not in air, unless you're a superhero. Density affects everything from how fluids flow to how they interact with objects, making it a crucial piece of the puzzle. Next up is pressure. Ever felt your ears pop as you dive into a pool or take off in an airplane? That's pressure at work. Pressure is the force exerted by a fluid on any surface it comes into contact with. In fluids, pressure is a big deal because it influences how fluids move and how they interact with their surroundings. Higher pressure in one area pushes fluid toward areas of lower pressure, like how squeezing a tube of toothpaste makes the paste squirt out. This movement of fluids from high to low pressure is the driving force behind everything from weather systems to blood circulation. Now, let's talk about viscosity, the stickiness of a fluid. Viscosity is a measure of how much a fluid resists flowing. Think about pouring honey versus pouring water. Honey is thick, slow, and gooey, high viscosity. Water, on the other hand, is quick, smooth, and runny, low viscosity. Viscosity affects how fluids flow through pipes, how oil lubricates engines, and even how lava flows down a volcano. It's the reason why some fluids move like a breeze, while others trudge along like molasses in winter. But wait, there's more. One of the coolest concepts in fluid mechanics is Bernoulli's principle. This principle tells us that as the speed of a fluid increases, its pressure decreases. Sounds simple, but it's the secret sauce behind some of the most incredible feats of engineering. Want to know why airplanes can fly? It's because air moving over the curved surface of a wing speeds up, creating lower pressure on top of the wing compared to underneath. This difference in pressure generates lift, allowing the plane to soar through the sky. Bernoulli's principle is also why a spinning soccer ball curves through the air, why perfume sprays from a bottle, and why your car stays on the road even when you speed up. And let's not forget about buoyancy, the reason why ships float and helium balloons rise. Buoyancy is all about how fluids push up against objects placed in them. An object will float if it's less dense than the fluid it's in, and it will sink if it's denser. That's why a steel ship, despite being made of metal, can float. Its overall structure makes it less dense than the water it displaces. On the flip side, if you drop a rock into the ocean, it sinks like, well, a rock, because it's denser than the water around it. So, why should you care about all this? Because understanding fluid mechanics isn't just about passing a science test, it's about seeing the world in a whole new way. Whether you're watching the clouds drift by, feeling the wind in your hair, or swimming in the ocean, you're experiencing fluid mechanics in action. It's the key to everything from designing better airplanes to predicting the weather to understanding how our bodies work. Fluid mechanics is like the hidden language of nature, and once you learn to speak it, you'll start seeing connections everywhere. The more you understand how fluids behave, the more you can predict, control, and even harness their power. It's not just science, it's a superpower, giving you the ability to unlock the secrets of the natural world and make sense of the forces that shape our everyday lives. So, next time you're caught in a rainstorm, floating in a pool, or just sipping on a drink, take a moment to appreciate the incredible world of fluid mechanics. It's not just about water or air, it's about understanding the flow of life itself.